Pleasure to welcome you all to the Daystar Innovation Hub launch that will be taking place this Friday, 29th of July from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. at the auditorium.
Are you creative? Are you innovative? Well, this coming Friday we'll be launching the Daystar Innovation Hub.
You may be wondering, what is Daystar Innovation Hub, or rather Daystar iHub? Daystar Innovation Hub is basically a platform that seeks to foster innovation and creativity amongst the Daystar community. And we would really love to encourage you to participate and come, Daystar family, let us do this.
Get a chance to be connected with companies who are passionate about innovation such as Genitech Limited, Statinev, Haltpress Africa, Microsoft, Absa Bank and Kenya Innovation Agency.
The Daystar Innovation Hub is one very great initiative that will come along and help us in a big way.
In every generation, there are map makers who seizes the opportunity and open a man's vision to the future. And guess what? You are that map maker. Through God-given talents, abilities, research, you can innovate and invent a new thing. The good news is that Daystar iHub is here with us. So let's roll our sleeves, get our hands dirty and make our society sustainable.
Daystar Innovation Hub.
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 Daystar iHub.
Daystar Innovation.
Transport to Nairobi and back to Athi River will be provided. See you there.
Welcome all.
Hello, Daystar family. My name is Bertha Mwamba, and it is my pleasure to welcome you all to the Daystar Innovation Hub launch that will be taking place this Friday, 29th of July, from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. at the auditorium.
Are you creative? Are you innovative? Well, this coming Friday we'll be launching the Daystar Innovation Hub.
You may be wondering, what is Daystar Innovation Hub, or rather Daystar iHub? Daystar Innovation Hub is basically a platform that seeks to foster innovation and creativity amongst the Daystar community. And we would really love to encourage you to participate and come, Daystar family, let us do this.
Get a chance to be connected with companies who are passionate about innovation such as Genitech Limited, Statinev, Haltpress Africa, Microsoft, Absa Bank and Kenya Innovation Agency.
The Daystar Innovation Hub is one very great initiative that will come along and help us in a big way.
In every generation, there are map makers who seizes the opportunity and open a man's vision to the future. And guess what? You are that map maker. Through God-given talents, abilities, research, you can innovate and invent a new thing. The good news is that Daystar iHub is here with us. So let's roll our sleeves, get our hands dirty and make our society sustainable.
Daystar Innovation Hub.
It's very easy for us to think, it's about me, myself, and I. But guys, come and see me.
Daystar
This
Innovation
will not have
Hub.
happened. My challenge for us today is
Daystar
may we
iHub.
utilize this opportunity to learn.
Transport to Nairobi
The
and
Bible
back
says,
to Athi
as
River will be provided.
Iron sharpens iron, so does a man sharpen the countenance of another. So it's great that we're gathered here today as friends, as Daystar, as innovators, so that we can sharpen one another to become better in what we are at, so that we can reach the world and impact the rest of us. So I pray that we'll have great conversations this afternoon. I pray that these conversations will be just a beginning of the great things that we'll do, that in the next few years amongst us we'll have people whose names will be written on different walls in this world because of the things that they will have done. That in the next few years, because of this meetup, lives of people will be changed. And someone will say, not because I came for this launch, my idea grew, and because of that, I am who I am. Amen? Amen. Shall we pray? Lord, we thank you for gathering us this afternoon. We thank you that you say in your word that you prepared for us good works in advance, that in us you have placed a gift, in us you have placed something that can be utilized to be a blessing to someone next to us and the community at large. We pray that even as we continue with this launch, with the conversation that we'll have, that Lord, may you be part and parcel of it all. That from this conversation this afternoon, many lives will be impacted, changed, and lives will be transformed. We pray that these conversations will be each and every one of us. We thank you and we bless you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Makofi Kwake. Thank you so much for reminding us that God has given us a gift, that we are supposed to come up with solutions to make this world a better place. So I want to request all of us to stand so that we can sing along to the national anthem. Both national, East African, and the Daystar anthem. East African. Now the Daystar anthem.
Whereunto he doeth that he taketh
You may have your seats, please. So once again, welcome to Daystar University for our dear visitors, and also for the students. Thank you for coming and thank you for being here. So we will start with the welcoming remarks from the principal, Nairobi campus. This is Professor Michael Bowen. So let's please put our hands together and appreciate when he comes. Makofi to Scott as he's coming here.
Thank you. Can we give this lady and the gentleman a clap for the great work that they are doing? We want to welcome all of us to Daystar University. For our guests, this is a student-led event, and we are here to support them. And right, we would also like to appreciate our chaplaincy. In research, there is something we call operationalizing a term. So the chaplaincy has operationalized innovations as handiwork, we are God's workmanship. That is what innovations are. So actually, we are an innovation ourselves, chief guest. You look at you, you look at me, we look at the chaplain. We are an innovation, handiwork. Actually, they say, if you look at a human being, especially the brain, no computer can match the brain. And that tells you how much of an innovation we are. And then you also say, the verse that you also read says that we are to do good works. So again, to operationalize that, chaplain, we are to innovate, So you should have said we are an innovation to innovate, So we'd like to appreciate the chaplaincy and our guests. We want to welcome you. I know I have some of us, beginning with our chief guest, Irene Kidinji. Would like to appreciate her. Irene, please stand. We would like to appreciate you for gracing our occasion. Can we clap for her? Thank you so much, Irene. Thank you for gracing our occasion. From Microsoft, we want to appreciate you. We have those of us from Mijini Tech, trying to see where it is here. Maybe they are not here as yet. In terms of the poster, but I know they're already here. Innocent Ouma, please stand. Thank you, Innocent. Can all of that group please stand? Winnie, and then Derek. No, please don't sit. We want to clap for you in a better way. And then James is also here. Good. Can we clap for Mijini Tech? I guess they'll be coming here for the panel. They'll tell us how to pronounce Mijini Tech. Oh, it's a Kiswahili term. Now I get it. You see, that's an innovation from me. Karibuni sana, you may have your seats. Thank you very much. Halt Prize Africa, Cliff Nyakundi. Can we give a clap to Cliff? Cliff has been here before. And the students, I think, must have encountered him. Statinev, now that sounds like Greek or yes, thank you. And unfortunately, I didn't have your name, sir. You can let us know what your name, briefly, Jesse Muraya. Yes. Okay. Can we clap for Jesse of Statinev? This is innovation. Even the names themselves are an innovation, and you can see how maybe I'm finding it very difficult. Even the next one. Guru, is it Guru? Okay. Guru Energy. Maybe they're yet to come. Again, a difficult name. You guys, you think it's because of my generation. It has nothing to do with my generation. The names are just difficult. Innovations, these are innovations. Young Investors Africa, thank you. This is an easy one. Do you have, yes, can we clap for our friend? Please let us know your name. Timothy Kashusha. Karibu Timothy, thank you very much for visiting us. Kenya Innovation Agency, this is a parastatal, government parastatal, maybe they're not here yet. Then Meta-G, an academy. I think I met, yes, please stand. These fellows are related to us, our alumni. Is it both of you, one of you? Both? Oh, yourself, yes. So karibuni sana. This is the Silver Chemutai, Grace Wangeshi, Andrew Juguna. Can we clap for our own, you know? Thank you for coming back home. Absa Bank, Kenya PLC, David Onundu. Can we clap for David? Thank you, David. Thank you for coming. Susula Associates, and then we have Sisule Musungu. Welcome, sir. Can we give him a clap? Thank you. I hope I have not left anybody else that is our guest this afternoon. I would like to appreciate all of us for coming to hold the hands of our students. Like I said, we are just here to give them support. This is their own initiative. So we would like to appreciate all of us. And I want to welcome you now officially on behalf of our Vice Chancellor, Professor Laban Nairo. He really would have wanted to be here, but he had a very urgent appointment together with the DVC, Academic Research and Student Affairs, Professor Faith Nguru, and DVC Finance, Administration and Planning, Professor Muturi Washira. They extend their welcome to all of us, and thank you so much for coming. I would like also to appreciate another group. We would like to appreciate, we have Dr. Irungu, we have Dr. Munyao. Please stand. Our chaplain also stand. Those of us from, please don't sit yet. I know research, where is Wafula? Wafula, yes, Wafula is there from research. You do understand that research, innovation basically is under research. Dr. Irungu is the director of entrepreneurship, so again, this fits in here. Odell, Open Distance and Electronic Learning, is actually the patron to this club, and Dr. Munyao is here to represent Dr. Ayuya. And then, of course, our chaplain. Can we give them a clap? Thank you so much. Thank you. Staff, are there staff? Daystar? Yes, thank you. Yes. Oh, corporate affairs. How could we forget you? You should not be seated up there. Can you stand up, Jean? So Jean has helped the students to prepare this corporate affairs. Can we clap for corporate affairs? Thank you very much. And probably also, let me just recognize the students as well, especially the student leaders. I think they'll still come here, but just stand. Your president, where is your president, Nalwa? Is Nalwa here? Maybe not. But I can see the treasurer is here. And the deputy, so please stand, the two of you. I know you're just coming in. Any other member of the DUSA leadership? I know you will still be introduced at length. Any member of DUSA, Daystar University? Thank you, Governor Adiriva, Maxwell. Can we clap for this? This is also the group under which iHub operates. I want the team, the iHub team, just to stand. I'm not sure whether the president is here. You already, please stand. I think you still have a chance later on. Can the iHub team, the team that has organized this, please stand. They are few today, but they are normally very many. Maybe some are running around. Maybe some are yet to come. I see even the president and Isadu president also coming in. Can we clap for this group? Thank you very much for inviting us. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here because of this team, the iHub team. So welcome. Daystar University, I think I don't want to say much. You know, we began with the chaplain, so you know that this is a Christian university. That's what we do in all our functions. But more to that, we have several programs. I don't want to list all of them. Our latest, is it the School of Nursing or the School of Law? Which of the two? And then, of course, we have computer science. We are just talking with our chief guest, and she's really interested in coming back. And thank you, Irene. I'm sure probably will say something later. And we would like all our partners, please come back. This is just a launch. We'd like now to work from here. And therefore, Daystar is a liberal, we call it Liberal Christian Arts University. If you've been wondering what it is, of course, the faith issue is very important to us, but we have a liberal approach to education. That means even a computer science student has to do culture, a course in culture, the Bible, and we quarrel with these fellows all the time. They say, why are you asking me to do a course in culture and I'm coming for computer science or some science, you know? But we appreciate that life is a 360 degree, you know? In that context that even somebody that is doing arts courses require a course in environment and physics because we'd like them to appreciate some of the things. And this has been part of our strength, actually, as a university. We also do what we call problem-based learning. What does that mean? Our students, we give them case studies, and we are happy that we have many partners today. We'll be picking some case studies, actually, from some of us later on in the course of time, so that we are able to use them. You give us practical examples of what happens out there. You guys from the industry have been complaining about graduates that come out that are not well prepared. So the only way we can prepare them well is if we teach them using the current happenings within the industry. And so that is in brief about Daystar University. One of the nations that leads in terms of innovations, I don't know whether I should ask Nalwa about this. Which nation per capita leads in terms of innovations? Nalwa, our alumnus. Anybody? Anybody knows? Israel. Per capita, we're talking of per capita. So if you divide the population of Israel with the number of innovations, Israel is actually the leading. Of course, I think overall it's the US, but in terms of per capita, it's Israel. I would like us to ask ourselves, why do we think this is so? In fact, they created a very interesting innovation. They call it Sniff Phone. It's able to sniff out diseases from your body. Can you imagine, you know? So those are the kind of things that we'd like to see. Are we very far from there? We are just an idea away from getting there. So we need to think about some of these things. Solve problems. That's why we have the research directorate here. Because when you solve a problem, that's an innovation, then you're in business, you know? The problem sometimes with some of us, you want to begin with the money. You don't begin with the money. You begin by meeting a societal need. When you do that, the money will follow you. Microsoft, our chief guest is here, and she'll be able to give us the history probably. And it's because Microsoft met a need, and they are still meeting it up to today. And when you meet a need, don't meet it once and go away. If you don't do that, then you have a challenge. You don't come. You don't have the ability to say you are fired. Anyway, you are doing your job. Now, so this is what we see as far as innovations then are concerned. What are some of the things that we see in terms of, as far as institutions are concerned? We must look at the market. We must look at alliances, especially for institutions. We must look at the concept of cost, the pricing of the innovation, and the research and development. We shouldn't spend a lot of money, because if you spend a lot of money in research and development, by the time the innovation comes out, it will be too expensive. What about individuals? What do we see as far as what do we need to be able to see innovations? Continuous reflection. That's why we have to avoid, as young people and as older people as well, a lot of social media. You must let your mind be refreshed. You see, it's like that computer booting, you know. So a lot of reflection, action, mental resilience. The people that have come up with innovations, they have managed to be resilient, you know. So it's important. And courage to be able to say this can be done. So those are some of those things that we expect. Innovation, of course, involves uncertainty, creativity, and mindset. Failure and unexpected outcomes require positive adaptation. So it's a journey. Expect to fail, but also expect to hit some good success. So it is important for us to think about that. So again, I just want to say that we want to appreciate our guests for coming. We'd like to lay a foundation for our students as Daystar, give them a policy framework. We protect their work in terms of intellectual property. This is what we seek to do as a university. There are a lot of quarreling about M-Pesa, who started it, who didn't start it, but we'd like to then give that policy framework even for our students. And so thank you for coming. As I conclude, you know, conclude more than once in Africa. I'll see what the chief guest will do, whether he'll conclude twice or 3 times like myself. We are in an election period. So let me say this because it's also important. Kenya, we've gone through many challenges. We had COVID, now the Ukraine-Russia war, we have drought. Let me tell you, Kenyans, those of us that are Kenyans, don't fight. If you fight, you will go under. That will be the 4th tragedy that will hit us. So Kenyans, don't fight. I want us to isolate people who want us to fight. When you see one, your neighbor, your friend, and Nalwa, the president, he helped us a while back. He brought a peace initiative here. When you see people that talk about fighting, please isolate them and tell them you're out of order, you know. So we'd like to vote, and so again, on the same note, I want to encourage us to go and vote. I was meeting the DCF a while back, and I realized it was only one that had Kura, you know. I said, what is happening? Now I hope you have a vote. So vote. I'm not asking you who to vote for. But after we vote, let's be friends. Let our Christianity, let our neighborliness be more than the voting. This voting will come and go. So let's maintain the peace even as we go to vote. So once again, I want to welcome our guest. May God bless you and thank you for coming. MC, sorry for taking your time. You can find me a little money.
Once again, let's appreciate Professor Bowen for his remarks. Let's keep on appreciating him till he gets to his seat. Yeah, we want to thank you for the wonderful remarks that you've made. And in the interest of time, I'd just like to welcome the IHUB president so that she can come and give us an idea of what IHUB is and just tell us more about IHUB. Because most of us just have a rough idea about it, right? Okay, but before then, I want to know anyone who can tell me what you are hoping for today and what you hope to learn from this particular setup. Anyone who can do that? There's a gift for you. There's a gift for you. Yeah, kuna hii ya sasa ni ukweli, tumezileta by the way. Hii ni ya ukweli, ziko. Okay, you can display the evidence. Okay, so yeah, there's proof. So anyone who can just tell us what that is, we can pick someone from this side. Hii nayo ni ya ukweli, nimeonyesha, msiniangushe. We can pick someone from this side. Anyone? Yeah, we can have him. As we also wait for someone, one more person on this other end. And ushers, kindly, I'd like you to give them something good for themselves. Nilisema hii ni ya ukweli, so do you? Okay, let's hear from you.
Hi, good morning. Wow, sorry, afternoon. So my name is Ryan. So what do I want from iHub? I'm an innovator, one way or another. So when I develop whatever I'm gonna develop, I want to know how to connect with people, how people will plug me with all the best resources that you guys have to offer. And yeah, that's basically it. Thank you.
Let's appreciate him. You can give him something. One more person from this other end? Okay, we can go with you.
Sorry.
Ladies, maybe a lady as we conclude that section. Okay. We'll come back to you. Relax.
Good afternoon. My name is Cynthia, and what I expect, among my expectations from this event is I see we have very respectable people, and there's a president here who has a whole thing going on. So I want to hear what they went through and how they pushed through the obstacles that came, because obstacles are always there. So I want to know what they did and how they went about them. So yeah.
Yeah, let's appreciate her. Yeah, just like Professor Bowen said, at some point in life you have to fail so that you can make it, right? Yeah, so let's appreciate the iHub president as she comes to give us a word. Tumpigie makofi tafadhali as we encourage her to come. Yeah, so she's going to tell us what iHub is and what we should expect from it and how we can go about it so that we can bring about our innovative and creative ideas and steer them to greater heights. Sawa.
Thank you very much. Once again, good afternoon, everyone. Wow, it is such an honor to be here. And I would like to start by apologizing on behalf of some of our members. Due to unavoidable circumstances, they've not been able to make it in the Athi River. But yeah, some of us were able to make it, and we are more than happy to have you here. Thank you for coming. Talking about iHub, so basically Daystar Innovation Hub is a platform that seeks to foster creativity and innovation amongst the Daystar community and beyond. And one of the reasons as to why we wanted to have you all here, especially the guest, is for you to share with us your experiences and also the importance of having an innovative mindset, especially in the 21st century with all, as Daystar University, we are so much into the problem, we have a system, the problem-based learning. So we seek to find solution. Yes, so we are here to learn. We are very expectant and we are so excited to be here. You'll get to hear more about the Daystar Innovation Hub. Thank you so much. For interest of time, Mr. MC can take over. Thank you.
Let's appreciate her once more. Yeah. For those whom I had said that I'll give some gifts, Missy Mwangondoi, just come for them in the meantime. Next, we want to have our Daystar president, DUSA president, who will just come and give us a few remarks. Wale wa gifts, come for your gifts, kindly. Ni kusema na kutenda. Let's keep on appreciating the president for coming.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Use the mic. Good afternoon, everyone. God is good, and all the time. First of all, let me say thank you for each and person who has taken their time out of the busy schedule just to come and congregate with us here and share the wisdom they have in order to grow the youth that we are in and reach or fulfill the dreams that we aspire to. To our guests, my apologies. Because of the names and the capacities or offices you hold, I do not want to breach the protocol. Though we were told saying all protocol observed is a show of disrespect. But kindly allow me say all protocol observed, and we are honored to have you here. Daystar University, Daystar Innovation Hub, we are here because we want students to actively take part in any passion, any scope, or any field that they want to pursue, so that after graduation, we don't have a large pool of students complaining of unemployment, complaining, or they want an experience of 10 years, yet I just graduated. So with the Innovation Hub, we'll be able to network, we'll be able to groom our skills, we'll be able to furnish anything that we'd like to have. So we highly appreciate. Our aim here is to tap into the knowledge that you have, the wisdom, and even get to hear from you the stories, how you've managed to be where you are. As I can see, most of you are young. So we want to know what has made you be where you are at your age, and what can we do as students in this current generation to be able to maybe follow into your footsteps. I can see Wangeshi here. I know she's part of our guests, but I'm sure she's one of the happiest alumni here, because while she was here at Daystar, I was a normal student, and she was the chair of the Daystar Halt Prize. And her aim was to have the Innovation Hub. So many emails, so many mobilizations, but it did not happen during her tenure. But we are glad it has happened when Beth is the chair. So can we kindly clap for them? So, as student leaders, the government is here, the Congress is here. This Innovation Hub is not only for IT. You know, when students hear about the Innovation Hub, most think that it's only about the technology aspect, but it's not about that. We are talking about the Sustainable Development Goals 2030, Vision 2030. We are talking about the Millennials 2063. So we need to find a problem, find a gap, and as students, be able to fill into it, be able to impact a life, be able to sort a problem that is existing or a problem that we foresee in the future. So Daystar University, we are all out to ensure that students also, as we participate in entertainment activities, we also participate in career-based activities. And that is why we have the Innovation Hub. So we look forward to interacting with you. If I leave this stage without saying that, when you come on stage, if each one of you just offer us 3 internships, we will highly appreciate internships and attachments. So from Microsoft and from Brian Ocho, Impact Africa Network, we just want 3 from each of the guests. We will highly appreciate. Thank you so much. Feel free. Daystar is home. Daystar is our family. Anytime. Thank you.
Let's appreciate Mr. President, Daystar University. So next, we're going to have Dr. Munyao. He's going to be standing in for Dr. Caroline Ayuka, who is the iHelp patron. Makofi kwake as he walks on stage.
Good afternoon, Daystar University. Professor Bowen, our chief guest, Irene, all the guests who have come to be with us and grace this event, Dr. Irungu, my colleague, all the students who are present here, beginning from the student government, and the founders of Daystar iHub. Good afternoon. Let me start by acknowledging presence of Justice, Dr. Justice Mutua. Where are you? He's one of the founders of iHub. I understand that he is in the house. So I'm going to make very brief remarks on behalf of your patron, that is Dr. Caroline Ayuya Mwaka, whom we work with in Odell. Because my understanding is that the Daystar iHub is going to be housed under Odell. That Odell, for those who do not know, it means open, distance, and electronic learning. I think that has been a common place since COVID for our learning, and that has helped us support remote learning for the last 2 or 3 years. Let me begin by saying that I find this to be not a usual coincidence that when the students are launching on this day, Daystar Innovation Hub, just last week we had some visitors from the US who have an office here in Kenya. So the country director and her colleagues came to visit with this university. We met with the Vice Chancellor, and we are now working on a collaborative effort for them to support business incubators through Daystar University. Can you imagine? A week after that, I'm seeing a notice on this, and I'm saying, God has a way of working out things, aligning things so that they just fall in place when He purposes to accomplish His will amongst His people in our world today. How nice that can be that when we are working on the collaboration, Daystar iHub is launched. Would you call that a coincidence? This is a new dawn in Daystar University, where innovation is a mantra that cannot be wished away. You know, in the academia, we like to say that you either publish or perish. But accelerating economic development in the 21st century, we must innovate or perish. We must innovate or perish. And that doesn't matter whether you're an institution of higher learning, a nation, and whatever capacity, we must innovate. The recent pandemic is one of the latest examples of what innovation means. And as your patron, this shows the importance of innovation, that innovation cannot be underestimated. Innovations, all organizations to stay relevant in this dynamic and competitive world, we must innovate. It has the ability to solve critical societal problems and enhance society's capacity to act through technology to produce products and services. So as we launch DU iHub today, we have extremely sound innovations and creative minds in this room, as much as those sitting following us online. Kenya is going into elections, and see how innovations like iVote, all right, technology innovations are going to reduce problems of voting in this country. COVID-19 brought out great innovations in this country, such as testing kits. You know, you could now carry around a COVID-19 testing kit with you. Think of how innovations around mobile banking have transformed an entire ecosystem of global money transfer, and that has transformed banking industry. This innovation, this idea was birthed by a student, a learner in Technical University of Kenya, then Kenya Polytechnic. Think of how app development has transformed how people collaborate in chamas, for example, in businesses and so forth. The university is the idea hub, so to speak. We've got to let the investors, who are some in the room, big and small, come to the university, because this is where ideas are birthed. Let them come into a university and find business incubators and be interested in investing in them, but also profiting from them. Stephen John once looked at history and observed and said, innovation does not come just from giving people incentives. It comes from creating environments where their ideas can connect. End of quote. Innovation requires friendly ecosystem where all people, students, employees, entrepreneurs, etc. are supported and provided with the right tools. Therefore, we cannot do this alone. We must collaborate with like-minded institutions. We must collaborate with like-minded organizations and even individuals. Innovation can only thrive in an environment where it is encouraged. Interaction and exchanges of ideas are welcome, and where brainstorming and breakdown of information takes place. And so, as Professor Bowen has talked about elections, we are going to be past elections. I know we've had a lot of promises that we're going to produce many jobs for you guys. But if you think about it deeply, what you need from your political leaders is not really job creation, but a thriving environment. An environment that makes you, the innovators, sustain your ideas, birth your ideas, and produce out of them employment. Not only for you, but also for others. That's what we really need. That is what we need. Therefore, innovation is a way of life if we have to be relevant with the ever-changing world. And as I conclude, for Daystar community, this is huge. I'm surprised the hall is not full. This is huge. We can't wait to see great minds seated right in the hall come up with outstanding, amazing innovations. And iHub is the big thing in Daystar University right now. Let us go for it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Munyao. Makofi kwake. So we've been reminded that innovation is relevant for what? Yeah. What's happening? Innovation is relevant for what?
Kumbe kuna watu walikuwa wamelala class hapa.
Sasa tutaanza kuandika wale watu wako Slumberland. So innovation is relevant for change in this world. All right? All right? Yeah. Sasa, Navara, me have seen only the president of iHub.
By the way,
kwani alifanya kitu peke yake? Ulikuwa peke yako ama ulikuwa na team? Si kila mtu anataka kujua which is this team behind this amazing event, yeah?
We are the co-founders of iHub. Co-founders of
please come, President. You introduce your team.
We are the co-founders, if you are here, maybe you can make your way. Aya, nika ulikuwa peke yako by the way.
Okay, iHub was not founded by one person. It always takes a team. Yes. So there is Dr. Justice Mutua, who is one of the founders, myself, and there's also Carlos Musungu. We also have a team of, the committee is here. There is Mr. Egesa. I guess
maybe they can,
you can just stand up.
You can just come on stage.
Oh yeah, you can come on stage. Egesa.
We also want to get to know your innovative ideas. So kuja kama umejipanga.
Come on stage. Now, some of the team members, they remain behind due to unavoidable circumstances. They were all supposed to be here, but due to unavoidable circumstances, they weren't able to make it. But we are about 18 And the team that remained was supposed to come with other people, you know, who had registered to take part in the iHub launch. That's why some of us are not here.
There's a member here. There's a member hiding somewhere here.
Please come to the front. Susan. Sam.
Let's appreciate them as they keep on coming. Let's keep on appreciating them. I hope there is no one left behind. Any other iHub member that hasn't been recognized? Yeah, hawa ndo watu wa iHub. And so for us, we have so very many questions for you. We want to know the kind of creative ideas that you have, because hamwezi tu create kitu na hamna ideas pia. But in the meantime, you can first introduce yourselves, your name and what you do, and then we'll get back to it.
Okay, I'm Susan Yaga. I stand in as the treasurer in iHub.
Hi, I'm Wensley Sotema. I was part of the committee that helped form iHub. I am a computer science student in Daystar University.
I am Eliba Munoba, doing computer science, and I'm also part of the committee.
Hello, my name is John Deritu. I'm also part of the committee. I'm doing computer science. I'm a software engineer by profession. Thank you.
My name is Nalwa Walter. I'm part of the committee. Thank you.
Tunaanza na huyo part of the committee. So Nalwa, which innovative or creative idea do you have that you would maybe want to share with us? You never know, leo ndo inaweza kuwa siku yako ya kuomoka.
Unajua yangu saizi haiko furnished to the fullest.
And that's why we have the CEOs here to help you scale it to greater heights.
It will be very embarrassing nikisema rumors mbele ya CEOs.
Makofi ya president na idea yake.
Okay.
Software engineer, now we want to get to hear kama ni ya ukweli ama kwa ground vitu ni different. Maybe just share something that you might have thought of in life, ama idea imekuja tu hapa sasa, kama unaweza fanya tu kitu mysterious yenye hatujaiona. That's innovative, right?
Yes.
Si ndio? Innovative versus mysterious zinaingiana? Haziingiani, but anyway atatuambia.
Humans currently spend like 10,000 hours to master a skill. I'm thinking of coming up with a hardware gadget with a software fitted on it. It is able to process information and give that information to you. It'd be like I'm thinking of a specs that gives you the information needed at relevant time. It's supposed to control also some parts of your brain so that you can be able to react to different scenarios. It's still kind of a hypothesis, but I am sure it can be done. I'm 98% sure it can be done, and I've already started coming up with the structure and the framework.
Haya, makofi ya software engineer hapo. At least for him, he hasn't given us an idea that is still in the furnishing. Okay, next we have the big man himself who's here. Maybe you want to listen to what you have.
What I have, I'm actually a software engineer as well, especially a mobile developer. I'm actually working on a project on agriculture, which I won't share it with you right now, because yeah, since I have CEOs here, they may have enough resources to actually finish the project before me. Yeah, so yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Hi. So I too am a software developer. The project, okay, other than an innovative idea, usually my approach to programming has always been I look at the society and what I can do to help solve it. So the beginning of this semester, I helped develop a simple website that is like a center where for students joining in Daystar, they can get all the relevant information needed at that place at a single time, because joining into campus, there's so much information that might slip you. So I helped develop that. So my approach has always been that I just see a situation and help develop something, even if it already exists, but just customize it for that situation at that particular time. Innovative ideas. So me and him are actually working on that agricultural product. It is a very interesting one for those who are really interested. As he has said, for the CEOs who are really interested, please contact us. Thank you.
Makofi kwake.
Okay, mine is based on agriculture. I'm thinking of is an idea on how to make sure that, okay, I know we have brilliant minds here, but yes, it's also based on agriculture, but it's about science on how to make agriculture better in it. So yes, for anyone interested, and we can work on that. Thank you.
Makofi kwake.
Hello, my name is Eunice Siam, and I am the PR strategist in this committee. I don't have an innovation, but I thank God because I helped them in PR. Yes.
Yes, I guess we've had all these amazing ideas, and we are so excited for the way forward. Thank you so much.
All right, let's appreciate this wonderful, wonderful team. So next, we are inviting our chief guest. So have your pens ready, have your notebooks ready, even your phone, wherever you put your notes, yeah? So let's appreciate Miss Irene Givenchy. She is the program manager, Education Engagements, Microsoft Africa Development Center. Makofi tafadhali.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. So I'm really excited to be here today. Once I got the email from, I think her name is Beverly. I don't know if she's here. Wait, she just raised your hand. I didn't actually meet you today. Oh, hi. So very nice meeting you, and thank you so much for reaching out. So we at Microsoft are really looking forward to how we partner with organizations, especially higher education institutions. And before I even get to what I wanted to speak on today, I just wanted to give you an overview of what the Microsoft Africa Development Center is about. So the ADC was formed about 2 years ago. We're now heading into our third year. And we, as the ADC, are the engineering hub of Microsoft. So we have 2 engineering centers, one in Lagos and one here in Nairobi. And our goal is actually to have over 1,000 engineers here in Kenya working on Microsoft solutions for the world. We're currently at 500 engineers, so we still have a long way to go in terms of getting the talents that we need as engineers, as technical program managers, and product designers. And that's why we are partnering with academic institutions to, number one, leverage the talent pool that we have. There are a lot of students here who are doing computer science. It was really good to hear most of the students that came up here saying that they're in computer science, that they're doing a product on agriculture or any other area. So it's really interesting to see that technology is still something that's part of what you're thinking and using as students. So at the ADC, my role is working on education engagements. So looking at how do we work on skilling, coaching, mentorship of students and faculty. And one of the key things that we want to launch this year is some of the partnerships that we do with universities in terms of skilling. So really having deep dive technical skilling programs for students. And we'll talk about that a bit later on. So when I was told to come and speak here today, it was looking at how we foster innovation and how to support innovation from any angle. So it could be on the technology side or, just basically innovation. And when I think about innovation, when I think about some of the companies that have made it to Fortune 500, they all started from one great idea. So we at Microsoft have something called the Microsoft Garage, which is where we ask people who are students, professional developers, to come in and hack and create with us. And the reason we call it the Microsoft Garage is because Bill Gates started Microsoft from his garage. Steve Jobs started Apple from his garage. So we decided, let's have our own innovation hub called Garage, where we invite people to come in, hack, create, and ideate with us. But what we also want to do is to work with innovation hubs that are already embedded within institutions. So we are really looking forward to understanding the model of the Daystar iHub and how we can come in and work together, really looking at how we can have boot camps, hackathons, speaking engagements, to really share what we at the ADC have and that we can contribute to academia. One other thing to think about when you think of innovation is internally within yourself having a growth mindset. So for Microsoft, a lot of us, we're always told every single time you need to have a growth mindset. And what that means is to think about how you see obstacles and challenges in your day-to-day and innovate and find ways to deal with it in a way that does not hinder your progress. So what I'd also ask you as students in whatever field that you're doing is to have a growth mindset. So this is just how do you tackle problems, how do you tackle your schooling, your personal life, and that helps you as you go into career, because a growth mindset is what is going to help you in how you form teams, in how you innovate, in how you create your own businesses. It really is a strong skill set to have. So in line with that, with a growth mindset and innovation, how does the Africa Development plan to support academia and different institutions within Africa? So the first thing is through hackathons. And the reason why we heavily support students in hackathons is because, number one, we want to help you to build a technical portfolio. If you're a software engineer, if you're in product design, if you're in computer science, one of the things that actually sells you out there is your technical portfolio. So most of us who are in computer science probably know about GitHub. So GitHub is a really great resource for you to leverage to have all your technical prowess in that application. So anything you've ever created, an application, a website, make sure it's part of your GitHub account, because this is what sells you as an engineer, as a product designer, and as a technical program manager. And I'll talk to you, and I'll send you more information through Beverly on some of the things that you can leverage as you think about your tech journey. So the first thing is that we really do support with hackathons. We want to co-own hackathons with you. So if you're planning to have hackathons, boot camps, we're really happy and excited as the ADC to partner with you on that area. The second thing is on framework workshops. So we have something called the Garage Growth Framework Workshop. And this helps you on how to ideate. So sometimes you have an idea. We had, I think it was the president talking about how he has an idea, but it's not yet ready. So how do you move it to the next level? How do you ideate to when you actually have a problem statement and a solution statement that you can act on? So one of the things we would like to do once the iHub is fully established is really work on having a growth mindset innovation workshop for your students and also for your faculty to help you ideate, to help you come up with solutions. Whether they're solutions in tech or solutions outside of tech, it's a great skill set to have, really knowing how to ideate and to present your ideas. Another area that we want to support and collaborate on is on skilling. So technical skilling is really important for students right now. And if you think about technology, it's ever changing. So a few years ago, it's blockchain. Now we're all thinking about AI and machine learning. So how do we continue as students to evolve and to understand the technology needs and how that will help us when it comes to creating solutions? So we want to partner in terms of having skilling opportunities for you, in terms of technical training boot camps, in terms of certification vouchers in our programs. And this is another area that we're really focused on growing with Daystar. And then the second last thing is resources to get you started. So as Microsoft, we've really thought about the journey of a developer or an innovator. So really looking at if you're in university, skilling is probably the most important thing for you right now. But after you graduate, what is the next step if you do not land a role in an organization? So startups is a new thing, and we're seeing a lot of students coming up with innovative startup ideas. So as Microsoft, we've created the Microsoft Startup Hub. And these are just resources to help you started on your startup, showing you how do you keep track of your finances, how do you go for funding, how do you create your team, what are the resources you use to manage your team resources. And it's a great toolkit, it's free. But what we're also doing with this is that we want to have more workshops that help you innovate in a startup mentality. So that if your idea is not to get into industry to work, but to innovate and have your own career in terms of a startup or an entrepreneur, then how do you get into that journey straight from university? And that's another area that we would really like to collaborate on. And then lastly, partnerships. We really want to partner and ensure that whatever you're doing as an organization, as students, we're able to work with you on that. And our goal is, yes, to give back in terms of skilling, in terms of technologies, but we are also looking for engineers to come and join us at the ADC, because our main goal is growing the talent pool for Kenya. So even if you don't join us at the ADC, Safaricom is looking for developers, Equity is looking for developers. So we really want to ensure that we give you the skill set that is necessary to either join us, create your own solutions or your own businesses, or go back into various avenues in industry. So those are the few things that I just wanted to share with you in terms of how we at ADC see working with institutions. We're very excited to be here, and we're going to explore more with the faculty on what else we can do for the institution and for the iHub. If you're interested in some of our student programs, you can scan the QR code on that banner. It will give you more resources on some of the hackathons, trainings that we have. So as ADC, we have a program called the Game of Learners, which includes exhibitions, it includes seasons, clinics, and exhibitions. So we've made it into a sports league where you're kind of competing with other developers across Africa to win the championship of Game of Learners. So have a look at the website. There are a lot of resources showing you what we've done for the past 2 years and what's coming up in the next years. All our programs are fully virtual, so they're very easy for you to just log in, go into our content, listen to our technical training, participate in our technical training, and also get the resources that you need for your journey. So I didn't want to spend too much time. That's all I wanted to share with you today. Thank you so much, Daystar community, iHub. We're really excited to see how we can partner with you. And looking forward to the rest of the day. Thank you.
Maybe before you leave, Miss Irene, allow me to bully you. Hackathons, and I'm asking for a friend. I'm asking for a friend. What is hackathons?
So simply put, hackathon is, okay, let me think how I can explain it. So hackathon is, it's almost like a competition where you come together to ideate based on a problem given by the organizer. So let's say I create a hackathon and I'll say, today we're going to create solutions on how we can address climate change. So I'll say that our hackathon is only going to be 5 days. I'll give you the tech that you need, I give you the problem statement, and we come up as a team to create an ideate. So that's what a hackathon is. It's us coming together, thinking of a solution, how we're going to address it, and then creating it.
Makofi kwake. I know I have helped a lot of you guys. Kuna wengine hapo wako wajua hackathon ni nini? Sindio? Yeah. So next, because tutaharakisha program because of time. So next we're going to have our first panel. And allow me to invite on stage. And if Israel Rugadiri, you're here, please Caribbean. So our first panelist, he's from Absa Bank. He's the SME and Women in Business Specialist, Absa Bank. His name is David Onundu.
Let's appreciate him while he's coming on stage. Next, we have Ogutu Okudo, who is the founder and CEO of Guru Energy. Let's appreciate her while she walks on stage. And next, we have James Ndoto, who is the founder and CEO of, wow, I think I share the same sentiments with Professor Bowen. Allow me to guess how it's pronounced. Mijinitech, yes, I have done it. Mijinitech, Karibu on stage. And next we have Meta G Academy and Agency. And we have the co-founder and CEO. Her name is Grace Wangeshi. Makofi kwake. And this lovely panelist is going to be moderated by Israel Lugadiru. Makofi kwake as he comes on stage.
Ladies and gentlemen, men and women, boys and girls, and each and every one of you who's hearing my voice, what's up? How you guys doing? Watu wa ipande nipungieni mkono tafadhali. Watu hapa katikati, yourselves as well. Huku mwisho, yenye huku hakuna psych. Mko sawa? Turn to your neighbor, give them a high five. Tell them you look nice. All of you, when you water, turn to your neighbor, give them a high five. Hey, Professor Bowen. Simsalimie jirani. Dr. Irengo was just there. Turn to the other one. Tell them if they look nice. Even if it's a lie, it's nice. Turn to the other one. Hata kama ni uongo. So ladies and gentlemen, my name is Israel Lugadiru. Are you guys feeling good? Are you guys feeling okay? So it's quite an honor for me to be here to moderate this first panel. So for those of you who are watching us online, the Daystar University YouTube channel is the channel to tune into. So for each and every one of you who's here, you can also share the link as well so that you can be able to spread this value to more people outside and also to more people who probably are catching us at home or in whichever places that they are in. So today's quite much of an honor because I can see a couple of faces that I can recognize. Mr. Mackenzie Stretch, what's up, Stretch? You're well? Can see you, Director Jesse, all the way from the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce, big people when it comes to innovation. Very, very, very good to see you. So on this particular panel, we're going to be discussing about innovations, basically, and we're also going to just get probably a little history from the reason as to why this particular innovation hub was also created. We're also going to find out probably just the journey and also what led to the creation of this particular innovation hub, because seated to my right is one of the co-creators, or rather one of the conceptualizers of the Daystar University Innovation Hub, Grace Wangeshi. Appreciate her, ladies and gentlemen. Amazing, amazing. And also seated to my left is an amazing gentleman from Mijinitech, right? Mr. James Ndoto. How you doing? You're doing fine? Suti imeenda shule. Viatu zikaenda shule. Who's your plug? It's Israel Lugadiru. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause. A round of applause. All the way from Absa Bank, ladies and gentlemen, I've got none other than Mr. David Onundu. Wapi makofi ya wenye benki. Amazing, amazing. So as we continue this panel, I'd just like to inform you that there's going to be a session for questions whereby you guys can actually ask questions. And I'm going to give you guys more time to also engage with our panelists as we get into it, because there are two of our panelists who are not around. Ama amefika, Angela? Are they around? Oh, okay. Sawa. So probably I can get that confirmation. But just in the case or rather, in the instance where the rest of the panelists come, just tell them to come and join us, and we're going to continue this particular panel. All right, sawa. So who do we start with, ladies and gentlemen? Tuanze na mwanaume ama tuanze na the ladies? Mnataka gani? The ladies. Ladies first, but men before. Mr. David, what's up?
What's up?
How you doing?
I'm good.
How you feeling?
Great.
What came to your mind the first time you heard of the Daystar University Innovation Hub?
First of all, I really didn't know what to come and say.
Yes.
Yeah, but based on my experiences and having worked with entrepreneurs and getting to see their journey, I thought I've got insights and experience to come and share with those that are starting up their businesses.
Yes.
And their innovations. What is it we're looking for? And how can they scale up their business? What are the mistakes we've seen most of entrepreneurs who have innovative products, ideas are making, so that at least when these young men are in that journey, they are much more informed and they don't get a shocker out there because there are many.
Yeah.
So that is what came into my mind and say, let me come share this, that will then empower somebody to not make those mistakes, so to speak.
For sure. You've brought out a very important aspect of the conversation, because I don't think there can be innovation without business on the side, because both of them almost go hand in hand, because most innovations that we see in the world, they usually get commercialized. But before we just delve into that, I think it's important for us to take it a little bit behind for us to really understand the history of the Daystar University Innovation Hub. So maybe I will start with you, Grace Wangeshi. How do you feel seeing all of these ideas that you, together with the Directorate of Planning, came up with? How do you feel today that it's being materialized?
Thank you, Mban, for this opportunity. I've just kept telling people I'm usually on the other plan inside, and then was usually running around. So I'm like, oh, this is so interesting. But honestly, even my co-founder can say I've been counting days to come for the launch, because this is I'd say fight. Is it a fight? But something it was a journey, yes. It was a journey that we started back in 2019.
2019?
Yes, the first time HALT Prize, and I can see Cliff is here, came to Daystar.
Yeah.
At the time, I was just a freshman. I didn't even know what I was doing. But the more I got into HALT Prize, because HALT Prize is also much about innovation, and I won't talk about HALT Prize because Cliff is here, but the more it just didn't sit right to me that we don't have an innovation hub in a university, So in 2020, we really tried, but I would say we didn't have a government, and I'm so happy that Nalo became the president, because I knew it would happen once I saw he became the president. So I'm really excited, and because Bed's team was the winning team during my on-campus competition.
Yeah.
So for me, that is influence. And for me, that is success. Okay. So I'm really excited, and honestly, very, very excited.
So someone out there, actually, we've talked about the Innovation Hub and also how upset you are that Daystar University didn't have an Innovation Hub at that particular time. Could you just explain in simple terms to somebody out there who's looking at this and probably doesn't understand what conversation is going on today? What is an Innovation Hub, and what was the idea behind the creation of the Innovation Hub?
Yeah, wow, that's an amazing question. So I like something that Dr. Munyao said, and he said, if you really think about it, we don't need the government to create a job for us.
Yes.
We need a platform. And when you think about the world we're living in, it's more about creation than it is to be employed. And the reason why countries like China, US, Japan, Israel, South Korea are ahead of us in the game is because when they're in school, they're not being taught how to work for someone. They're being taught how to go and create something. And for me, when I think about innovation, because innovation is the creation of ideas, entrepreneurship is the turning of those ideas into business opportunities. And so when I think of innovation, I was doing communication, so I think I don't want to go and be employed as a journalist, but what gap is there in the journalism world that I can tackle? And so it's very important, because as young people, as Generation Z, we're living in a time where things are changing so fast. Like in the next 5 years, things that are relevant right now will be so irrelevant in the next 5 years. And it's up to us to be at the middle of that. And the only way we can be in the middle of that is if we position ourselves to create these things. So yeah, I would say that's what I think about. I don't know if I've answered your question, but yeah.
when we talk about innovating and also creating, I think AI and IT is like a really big conversation. Yeah, guys? It's a really big conversation in the industry today. So I think I'll just turn to our IT guy today who is here in the panel. Do you think IT is the future, or rather is the solution to African unemployment today?
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much. James Ndoto, and for me actually, it's one of the things that it has even fueled Mijini Tech today to exist. If I look back when the whole journey started, because I'm also an alumni of Daystar, by the way.
Hey, Shmakofi, hey!
Yeah, I did computer science in Daystar, and this journey actually started.
Our major ni communication. What communication?
Well, during my time in Daystar, I was fortunate enough to start to get employed in my second year with an IT company, and the whole what led me to get employed was because I was involved in so many things in Daystar, among being the student leader and also trying to push some of our agendas as one of the student leader, and then that's how I met some of the amazing institutions like banks and other IT companies. And when I started to understand what they're doing, something started fooling me. And how I got employed, I went to marketing instead of even IT. Because the reason why I went to marketing, because I understood that we need to transform our market. We need to transform Africa. And technology is the only way it can get us there. There are so many gaps that by then I saw, which I know the time will not allow. But to make it short, I said we need to transform Africa digitally. Because the future where we're going, we cannot actually succeed or grow as a business, as a community, or anything that we are trying to do today without it. You can be a psychologist. You can be one of the people maybe exercising law or anything outside that's not IT related, close or business per se. But if you do not apply technology in that particular sector, then you'll be lagging behind. You'll be lagging, and definitely others will grow and move faster than you.
For sure, for sure. So it seems like you've been a founder of an IT company, or rather you've also been in the entrepreneurship space as well?
Absolutely. The reason why you introduced me as the founder, the CEO, is because I founded one.
It's because, actually, the reason as to why I'm asking that is because it's leading me to a question that's more into the entrepreneurship world. Because when we look at innovation and entrepreneurship, they almost mirror each other and they coexist together. So how difficult was it for you to get credit from a financial institution?
To be honest with you, the banks are here, we've never.
You've never gotten credit?
No. Why haven't you gotten credit? We've been in existence for about 3 years now, established, but the idea started 5 years ago.
Yeah.
As I said. And the whole thing, my co-founder is here, Mr. Innocent, who is our CTO.
Mr. Innocent, where you at?
I thank you very much for joining.
A round of applause. He's also a Daystarian.
in the early stage of it, when we started the discussion about Mijini Tech, I was working, as I told you, I was working, but of course, employment you can understand today, or rather during that time, you could not get what you're supposed to exactly get to fix yourself because there's so many things around. But when the idea of Mijini Tech came, which came from a product, that we thought of a product, and then the product later on led us to think of, fine, this product cannot run without a structure, and then we put a structure, and then after we put a structure, we said, now how are we going to get money? Do we go to banks or do we go to individuals? And then we talked to a few individuals, they say, you know what do you have that is working on the market? We told them, fine, we have an idea, a product, but it's not yet out.
Yeah.
So it meant we cannot be able to get anything, or even from our family members who say, we need to see something working, then we can give you money.
For sure.
So we said, let's do it with our own. With little we had, so as the leader of the company, but also knowing that I had to make sure that this idea that we have just brought to life should not die.
Yes.
I need to go out there to look for money.
For sure.
And my co-founders and the rest, we see how we can be able to make sure that we implement with the little we have.
Okay.
So that's what we did. And since that moment, we did it on our own. Up to the moment, we have not gotten any funds, but we thank God because one of our innovation, one of our products is today disrupting the market in one of the African countries in the government sector where we are actually digitalizing the revenue collection process in one of the governments in East Africa. So that's actually is one of the things that we believe now the bank can be able to sit with us and talk.
Okay, just before we get to the conversation of the banks, yeah, Mr. David, please watch our social distance. Capo. So you've talked about something and you've given us the experience of an entrepreneur and also an innovator. And a few weeks ago, I was having a conversation at the Ministry of Treasury, like at the Treasury, and we found out that the government has introduced a scheme known as the Credit Guarantee Scheme, just to encourage young innovators and also young business people to take loans. But the most unfortunate thing is that even after the introduction of the Credit Guarantee Scheme, which is a scheme that guarantees, or rather, which is a scheme whereby the government guarantees that they're going to pay defaulted loans, young people and young innovators are still not taking loans. Wacha tu tufanye tu like a roll call hapa. Wangapi washaichukua loan? Wow. I'm not talking about Fuliza and Mshori. How many of you have ever approached a financial institution to request for funding? I can see a few. All right. How many of you have ever approached the government for funding? Let's leave other private financial institutions alone. Let's go to the government. Okay. Mackenzie, how did that turn out? Uliambiwa lazima ujue MCA ama. So clearly from the statistic that you can get from the crowd, it clearly tells you that young people either are afraid of taking loans or are not aware about it. What do you think is the case? Tuangwa mic. Check mic 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Check.
Okay. I want to start here before I answer that. Number one, in terms of innovation, I tend to see it differently. It's not coming up with an idea, innovating something or coming up with a product or a system, sort of. I see is, how is it that you can challenge the status quo of exactly what is happening in organizations where you are to come up with better ways of doing that? For example, I can tell you, at the bank, apart from us, looking for customers and this money issue, we continually challenge ourselves and ask ourselves, which are better ways of doing things? How can we challenge the process that we have here to be efficient, to assist a customer out there? So you see, so that brings up your innovative mind that, what if we did it this way? What do you think? Can we try it this way? So in whichever institution you will be it you're going out there, you've been employed in a government, how innovation helps you is challenging the everyday processes, ways of doing things and finding out, what if we did it this way? Would this bring efficiency? Or what is your drive around it? So that's how I see it, so that we don't lock out those guys who are going to join mainstream and perhaps they don't have this wow idea that they can bring out, to also have this mind that I can challenge this process, I can come up with this idea that is going to bring out efficiency and save cost and bring in money to an organization. So that is one. Yeah. So then we move to the money aspect. Innovation is good. I was trying to read it last night because it's quite some time since I was in college. To trying to marry innovation and entrepreneurship. Because that is, those are the most people I deal with. And you ask a very valid question. Why is it perhaps banks are afraid of entrepreneurs? People who have had innovative ideas, innovative things, they've brought them to the market, and somehow the banks are afraid. Yes. How are we prepared for financing of our product once we bring it to the market? Are you able in 1 minute to pitch your product to someone and they buy it, hook, what is that name? Hook head and something. There's a name that comes to it. You'll find that an entrepreneur who has an innovative idea really does not know what is the funding journey. The funding journey. Funding journey. Number one, when you have an idea, it starts from your friends, angel investors. Those are the people who believe in you. Banks don't. They do not, because this is shareholders' money and things like that.
Yeah.
You must get somebody who believes that, I know this gentleman will do it.
So that leads me to another question. So what does it really take for the bank to believe in you and in your investment and in your idea?
So number one, your idea, when we are funding you, we are looking at your cash flows. How is it that you're going to pay? There are a lot of questions that we have to answer before we give you the money. How are you going to pay back? Which means cash flows must be in place, which means the idea must have been commercialized.
For sure.
Here you are with a gentleman who has a very brilliant idea, never commercialized, wants money.
Sorry to interrupt you once more and also to cut you short. I think that's a very important point that young people should actually take home. Number one, cash flow. Ambia jirani yako cash flow. Some people usually don't really keep their financial accounts and also their financial statements, and it really makes it difficult for banks to actually give them loans because not very many people are good with their accounts. Could you just insist on that particular point and how important it is for people to keep their financial records and cash flows as well?
I'll talk to entrepreneurs here who have been innovative enough to have ideas which they now want to commercialize. As you start that journey, towards commercializing your idea, it is absolutely important, number one, to be legal. Have the legal things in place. Register your business. Let it be known that it is me, David, operating under XYZ Limited, or be it whatever else. Then secondly, each and everything that you do it professionally. Don't you ever think that you can be given a contract and you are so a genius to read it all by yourself and sign it and get yourself into trouble. You didn't maybe see the terms of payment. Look for somebody who can read the contract for you and tell you, these are the terms, this is everything, now you can sign. But what we do find with our entrepreneurs, they get excited, they are signing things left, right, center, and when the payment times come,
yeah.
So you see, and then make sure that every single transaction you do is documented.
For sure.
Documented. It's through documentation that you can even tell an investor, leave alone the banks, an investor interested in your business that this is the steps I've done to make sure that I've reached here. And then every transaction that you do, make sure that you separate what is your money and what is the business money.
The business money.
What we find, there's this entrepreneur syndrome where your money and the business money are, we ni kitu kimoja tu.
Kitu kimoja.
So you can't differentiate. Unataka kuchafua meza kwa club, you're chafuaring with the business money. You see now?
No, true.
So you are unable to even reevaluate yourself. I said, this is the steps I needed to make.
Yeah.
You can't call yourself to a meeting. Useme, have I done it? Have I not? Have I made progress? Have I not?
Yeah.
So how am I then to believe in your business and invest in it if I don't see this progress?
For sure.
So those are some of the things I see, the mistakes that are being made, that would then assist the young entrepreneurs and innovators that are coming up.
For sure. I think with the interest of time, I think I'll just come to you, Grace Wangeshi. Please, Mr. Banks, Mr. Mapesa. Okay, I think I'll just come to you. And just to take the conversation a little bit now away from the entrepreneurial perspective, and now taking it to a founder's or rather an innovator's perspective. So we've seen very many innovations being created by different Africans out here, not just in Kenya, but very many innovations coming up. But some of them end up not receiving the visibility that they need, you know, for them to actually blow up and go viral. So you being in the social media industry, how can these young innovators leverage on media for them to really obtain maximum visibility?
It's very interesting you've asked that question, and I'm glad you've done that. There's a mistake my co-founder and I were just noting when the committee was told to give their ideas. They were like, no shit to everyone, okay? We're here to learn. So they were like, I have an idea in agriculture and we are planning to do this. For more information, we can link up.
Wow.
What have you done there? And probably your idea was so amazing. And so you find, and that's the gap that MetaG found. It's one thing to have an idea. It's another thing for your idea to find the right people. And that's the middle line between the companies you probably know and people you know who have good ideas, you know. And so one thing that entrepreneurs also need to understand is to understand marketing. Because you can have a great idea, but if you can't sell your idea, no one, including the banks. I always love when David is speaking because it's so important to understand that. But even if you can't market your idea, even the banks,
yes,
you know, even the investors, even the customers will not understand what you're doing. And so we are in the digital marketing space because it's another thing to also know what are the current trends. If you, for example, if you're creating a product for young people, are you going to put it on billboards? No, I want to hear. Are you going to put it on billboards? Why? Someone to know. Why? Yeah, exactly. Just so every time you might have a good idea, but always think, what are the current trends? Who is my target audience? And how best do they understand their language? Every time, I'm a bit younger. I literally graduated last year. So, wow. So when they're saying the youth, I'm like, I'm also a youth. But when you're selling to the youth, the language you're gonna use is social media, TikTok, right? No, not TikTok, Instagram. That's what you're gonna use. If you come here and tell them, you remember yesterday's Gazette? They're like, Gazette, you know? So it's very important as an entrepreneur to also understand how to market your product and what channels to use, because that's the difference between successful ideas and successful businesses.
Successful ideas and successful businesses. Kuna watu wanapata hiyo kama tongue twister hapa sai, successes, you know, all those things. Okay, all right. So I'll just like to leave this session to one person with the interest of time, who probably might be having any question to ask these panelists who are right here. So does any one of you have a question? Any questions? Yeah, please, come. So we'll take the lady next time in the next panel that's coming up. Sir, please, can we get a microphone? Okay, just come, use mine.
I have a question, especially about the marketing side. You've said about social media and all that, but you find there's a lot of people who are looking to like steal what God has given you, right? I mean, how am I supposed to just like post up everything? You know, I understand, because if I post too narrow of information, people won't understand. If I post too much, I sell myself out there. I mean, it's kind of a bit hectic, because you have to kind of also ensure that you are secure in your own way. So I think if you explained that before really throwing it out there, it kind of also makes us, because you ask, even here in Daystar, they're like, when we come up with those projects to you at iHub, how will our projects be protected? That's one of the main questions they're asking.
before we bring it to you, how sure are we to be protected? So even for us, before we start doing it out there, the protection aspect is also very important. Yeah. Especially in tech. Yeah.
All right. So I think for the legalities of that particular question, I think in the next panel we're going to fully discuss about now the legal and also the policies and the frameworks that have been put in place to patent and also protect your products. So is there anything else that you'd want to say? Although in the next panel we're going to delve deeper into that.
I actually wanted to say that in the next panel, I'm glad Statinov is here and Sisule, because one of the things, I'll say it from a marketing perspective, not from a legal perspective. When Steve Jobs was creating the Apple product, if you go read his biography, what he was creating was not a phone, but what he brought to you was a phone. So you need to understand the language of your customer. So even when you're marketing on social media, you're not going to tell people, I have a software. You're going to tell them, this software is in a phone. You have to understand the language of your customer, because if you use the language you have as an innovator, they might not understand, and just like that, your idea might be stolen. So that's another dynamic to learn. And I'm sure Statinov and Sisule will come and explain the other forms of the legalities, but on a marketing side, that's what I would say.
Thank you so much for your questions. I believe this is one of the things that in Mijini Tech, when we always discuss with my colleagues, we say, okay, how can we just talk about this idea out there? Why? Because someone will snatch it and, do something. And like someone was saying earlier here, we have CEOs here, they have money, they can be able to grow the ideas so quickly. But something that I appreciate about Innocent is that he always tells me, there's a reason why you have that idea and the other person does not have it. Because when God gives you that idea, there is a purpose that he wanted you to fulfill that idea. I believe even in business today it happens, because the same way I think about something is not the same way you can think about it, because at the end of the day, for us as tech companies, what we are so afraid of than marketing is the technicality of the product, the engineering process. That's where we are so much careful about. But talking about it, because that's how actually when we get someone attracted to the idea and to know, okay, fine, you are doing something like that, it's very excited, I can be part of it. But how now do we protect the idea? We make sure that internally you don't just give the process, the engineering aspect of things, just easily out there. Because we believe that we have so many, because we are not doing not much of disruptive, but we have mostly sustainable innovation that we are having on the market, which means you are doing something that someone else has done somewhere there, but did not do it well, but now you are trying to make it better. So when we think of that, there is always that differentiator, that's thing that will make you different from the other idea. And that's how also, one, you do not need to get afraid of selling it, talk about it, because someone will spot it and then you will reach out. Technically protect it. Sign important documents, follow up on this. The law people will tell you about intellectual property and the rest. That's what we are trying also to really push towards, because we do understand that today for a developer, when you give him the code, that's it. You give him the entire lifesaver for him. So we protect that. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. So David, I really wouldn't want you to hop onto that question because of the interest of time, and also because the other panel is going to come and really delve into that particular matter. But as we wind up, I'd just like you to give an advice to any innovator who's out there doing amazing things, or to any innovator out there who plans to innovate any product or to bring any invention in the market. The floor is yours.
All right. Thanks. Number one, have passion. If you have passion, passion cannot be transferred. Passion is how you'd want to do something. So if you have an idea and you feel like it will be stolen, the passion won't go with the idea. So passion is what drives what an innovator does. Then number two, be very clear on the problem you're solving. I know Professor here will tell you in academia, you have to state the problem clearly. So you have to be very clear on the problem you're solving. And then you have to make sure that you understand your market. The biggest problem to entrepreneurs is not funds. They've never been. It is the market. Who are you speaking to? Where can I find the market? What do they want? Did I solve that problem? Funds will always come back. So let us understand that, and also for those who have been fortunate to listen to this, the world out here needs us to be innovative in every sphere on anything that we do. Anything that you touch on, you have to find a different way of doing it better, either to save the ecosystem, either to save the environment, or bring about efficiency. So it spans across. My ask is, as you go back to class and as you think about the various things you do, find out what is it that I can do much more differently than can save the environment, the ecosystem I'm in, and bring about efficiency. You would have innovated. So thanks, and that's from me.
Asanteni sana. One more time, a round of applause as they take their seats.
Let's keep on appreciating them as they take their seats. And in the interest of time, I just want us to move into the next. But before then, there's just one takeaway that I got from this. Make sure you understand the market. Make sure you do what? Make sure you understand the market. Let's all say that. Make sure you understand the market. And so I'd like us to move into the next panel that will be brief. And starting on stage will be Clifton Nyakundi with the Hals Prize Foundation. Let's appreciate him as he comes. Next we have Statinev Magotho from Statimev, Innocent. Statinev. Next we have Kenya National Chamber of Commerce, Mushiri Mungai. Let's appreciate him as he comes. We have Timothy Gashusha from Young Investors. Let's appreciate him as he comes. Timo. We have one more person, Brian Ocho from Impact Africa Network. Let's appreciate him as he comes. We have Sisule and Associates LLP, Sisule Musungu. Let's appreciate him as he comes. Let's keep on appreciating them. I think those are the ones that we have at the meeting. Is there anyone left? Yeah, so Lugadiru, once again, you can take on stage.
Hey, this is quite a male-dominated panel. Mobiz too. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for my very male-dominated panel. And also in this panel features one of my bosses, Mr. Paul Mushiri Mungai. So Mr. Paul Mushiri, it's much of an honor for you to be here. The honor is yours. Wow. So ladies and gentlemen, this panel features an array of professionals. And not just professionals, but for an array of gentlemen who have been in the market and who have also had some experience when it comes to the topic and also the conversation of innovation. Some of them here are funders of startups. Some of them here know how to get funding for different innovations. And we also have legal minds in this panel who are going to help you, or rather help all of us understand the technicalities and also the legal frameworks that are available for innovators and for founders out there. So ladies and gentlemen, this is not the panel that you would like to miss. For those of you who are catching us online, the YouTube channel is the Daystar University YouTube channel. So make sure that each and every one of you who is here, make sure you share that channel, make sure you share the link, so that you can be able to spread the value that we are communicating right here. So before I give it up to one of my panelists right here, ladies and gentlemen, one more time, please appreciate all of them. Asante sana. So before I even go further, I think I'll just like to engage Mr. Timothy himself, because it clearly seems that I think you're the youngest in this panel. I'm not sure. Ama kwa ground vitu
that's debatable.
It's debatable.
That's debatable.
Kwa ground vitu ni different.
Perhaps.
So what comes to your mind when we talk about innovation? That's a question that I like to ask every panelist who comes here.
What comes to mind when you talk about innovation? I think what comes to my mind is transformation, change.
Yes.
But now I interact now with innovation more from a higher level of systemic change. And basically, with an understanding, with my background being law, now I can differentiate between invention and innovation, in the sense of you can innovate something that is already invented and add value. So innovation to me is being able to add value to systems or processes or ways of doing things to enable human beings have an easier life, for lack of a better way of saying it.
I think when we talk about innovation, one of the clubs that comes to everybody's mind, it's not really a club, it's become a movement now.
I think your mic is not working.
Check.
Yeah.
Alright, as they're fixing that particular mic, okay, I'll just come back to my question. So one of the clubs, or movements rather, that come about whenever we talk about innovation, especially in institutions of higher learning, is HALT Prize. So maybe you can just tell us, what is HALT Prize doing to encourage innovation in different institutions of higher learning?
Thank you so much for the question. Before I respond to the question, allow me to identify two of my colleagues who are with me here today and they were not recognized early. Jolene Wangeshi, our regional specialist for West Africa and Central Africa, and Firdausa Omar, please stand, our regional specialist for East Africa. More of our members in the office.
Yes.
So HALT Prize Foundation basically is a platform for young people to launch for good and for profit social enterprises. And every year we award $1 million to one of the most outstanding social enterprise startup.
Pesa ngapi? Sema tu.
It's 100 million Kenya shillings.
100 million Kenya shillings.
Yeah, and we have one African startup, Kenyan startup, that has won it before. If you know Bupas, if you've ever booked an air ticket from Wilson, or you've booked a bus using the USSD code, you have used their platform. And more innovation. So what we do to encourage innovation is we give young people a platform in every institution of higher learning. In Kenya alone, we are in 69 institutions, including universities, colleges, polytechnics. In Africa, in our last cohort, we're in 700 institutions, and our goal, together with part of my team that is here, is to get into over 2,000 universities this next cohort. So we give them a platform, and we crowdsource ideas, and then we now bring them to a place where they get to meet KNCCI, Kenya Innovation, Microsoft. They get to interact, get coached, trained, and then at the end of the process, we give an award for $1 million. However, in our next cohort, here in Africa, we are launching something called a bootcamp for African startups, where we'll be taking 3 weeks to mentor, coach startups from Africa, and also give an award for $100,000 just to encourage them and continue to invest in their ideas.
For sure. So I think when innovations come about, they usually lead to become startups, right? Small and young startup businesses. So you, Director Jesse, so how can these startups that are from young innovative minds, how can they gain capital, or rather how can they build a capital base for the purpose of business?
All right, thank you so much. Maybe before I get started, I'm here on behalf of Innocent Magothe, who's one of the co-founders at Startinep, together with myself and the rest of the team. So I'm sure you've seen some posters for Innocent, so I'm the third Innocent after this guy here. So in terms of capital, I think some of the fallacies that we've seen a lot of startups have is thinking that the first thing they actually need is capital. And that often is not the case. You cannot easily just start a business with thinking, okay, fine, let me get this $1 million and to be able to help me. In fact, a lot of startups, if you tell them some of those figures, they really will not be able to give you a proper rundown of exactly how that capital is going to be used. And the reason is they've not been able to set the structures, they've not been able to identify their market, they've not been able to get their team right in terms of who it is that they have within the organizations. And again, the product perhaps does not yet have a good fit for the market. Yes. So I think there's so many things that somebody has to have beforehand by the time they actually go out looking for capital. But then again, of course, to reach that point, and once you reach that point, then at the end of the day, now you have to start mapping out, okay, where within the startup journey are you, and how are you going to be able to, who are you going to be able to map out to be able to get that? So we did hear some people, one of the speakers speaking earlier, mentioning that often it starts with the F and F, you know, your friends, fools, family, and then you move on to angel investors, then you move on to the perhaps going to an accelerator who's going to be able to incubate you and help you grow your business. Then you move on to now perhaps venture capital money and private equity, going up along that value chain. But identify where you are as a business. If you're just starting off, you know, look for friends, look for angel investors, look for people within your community who can believe in your business. Because I believe that once you believe in your business, if you believe in your startup, if you believe in your idea, if you have a great passion for it, the capital will come following it. But if you're half-baked about it, there's no way the capital will follow you. If I can't come to my good friend here, if I can't come to Mr. Mushiri here with my idea and he doesn't buy into it as a good friend, then how are you going to convince other investors out there? So once you can be able to do that, I think that's a silver lining and you'll be able to achieve that effectively.
I think you've mainly really touched on a lot, especially to do with marketing, because some startups that usually come up, they say that, okay, one, capital is going to be their problem, but then another problem that usually comes about is the marketing bit. So I think I'll ask Director Mushiri to take this question. So what's the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce doing to bridge these young innovations to the markets out there?
Okay, thank you very much, Israel. That's a very good question. And I think just to pick up from where Director Jesse has left off and the other panelists, the first thing that the Chamber has done is to open up new markets. One of the biggest exports the country has currently is innovation. If you look at some of the investment flows that has come into the country over the last 4 or 5 years, it's actually into innovation. So you'll find that a lot of our products are now moving out into other countries. You look at M-Pesa. M-Pesa is now being exported into West Africa, into parts of East Africa, and places like that. So the Chamber has played a very key role. If you look at a market like Ethiopia, Ethiopia has just finally opened up after maybe about 4 or 5 years of solid, wooing the country. We as a chamber, maybe just to go back a bit, the Chamber of Commerce is a grouping of enterprises across all the sectors. We've got about 25 key sectors in the country. And what then the Chamber does is, one, look after policy and advocacy at a national and very high level with the governments, with the different organizations that deal with policy. The second thing that the Chamber does is create networks. Just networking different sectors, different businesses, individuals, and things like that. The third and very, very important pillar that the Chamber represents is international linkage. So the Chamber is part of the World Chamber Federation that constitutes about 177 countries out of the 203 countries recognized by the UN. So what then the Chamber does is work with those different countries to bridge the gap. So if you want to move into a market like China, for example, where would you start as a business person? If somebody has innovated a product here and they want to move into a different market, where would you start? So the Chamber forms that platform that helps you to enter those markets. I'll give you a very good example. The other day with Timothy in Korea. And a business had innovated around fire extinguishers. Can you see any fire extinguisher in the room? All right, so this is a traditional fire extinguisher. So a young business has innovated around fire extinguishers. So rather than carry around this heavy product, they have a product that you just throw towards a fire, and it actually puts out an entire fire. So the first people they would come to with a product like that is a trusted network of people. And so that's what the chamber offers you. So we've come all the way from Korea and they're looking for market here, but how do they find the ecosystem? So chamber forms that platform. So to answer your question, how do we open markets? Is through a trusted network that is reliable. So Safaricom was part of a delegation that went into Ethiopia about 6 years ago, along with other businesses in Kenya, including Equity, including Cooperative Bank. And through that and the lobbying and the networking that we have, we now have Safaricom spending about $54 billion in Ethiopia. We have Cooperative Bank that has opened several branches in Ethiopia. We have several KCB branches in Ethiopia. The same route is now happening for DRC Congo. Director Jesse here was part of a delegation that went into Congo about 2 months? In December. And this is a rich guy in the farming. So out of the chamber networks, you're able to then venture into new markets.
Yeah.
And so to answer your question, how does the chamber support marketing?
Yeah.
Is through that network that then take innovators into different markets.
Yeah.
That then you've trusted your market, your product here, you're able to access new markets.
Yeah.
And you're able to then find a reliable network that will help your business to grow.
For sure.
Yeah, then that's just an example.
You've talked about a trusted network, and the fine gentleman right there had trust issues. And he talked about the policies, or rather he questioned, or rather he asked about the protection that the legal entities that we have currently offer for different startups and also different innovations. And we've actually seen different innovations come up, and then all of a sudden they've been stolen by different people. They don't own the intellectual properties and stuff like that, or people just come and take them up. So what legal framework is there to protect these small enterprises and also these small innovations that are coming up? I think I'll give that question to our legal expert, Mr. Sisule Musungu.
Thank you very much.
For sure.
So let me start by this. So the World Intellectual Property Organization does an index called the Innovation Index every 2 years to gauge how innovative economies are, countries. And in that index, Kenya is number 54 in the world out of 132, and number 3 in Africa, behind Mauritius and South Africa. What that tells you is that there is a lot of innovation happening in this country and elsewhere. So the legal framework is there. What the challenges are, as we see them, is one, knowledge, just starting with knowledge. Startups start, people have ideas, good ideas, they go with them without thinking about these things. Others fail to start because of the trust issues that you've mentioned. So in the context, if you think about, and everyone goes to intellectual property, there are 2 ways to think about it. So intellectual property will protect you. You have copyrights, for example, code. Some of it is automatic. So copyright will attach automatically when you do the code or write a book or poetry, whatever. There are other cases where, like patents, relate to much more developed technologies. So understanding those basics, I don't think that we should make innovators lawyers. That is a mistake sometimes. What they need is 101 on some of these things when they are, for example, in a university, so that when they see something, they can know, I need help from a lawyer. It would apply to other processes. I think it was raised by the APSA representative about accounting, for example. making sure that you have, but they need 101 around these things to understand what it is. Now, in a hub like this, I think since we are in this context, what needs to happen first is the hub itself to create the policies around how do you receive ideas, how do you process them, and how do you make sure that if that idea has intellectual property, it's protected. Now, that is at the hub level in terms of policies and processes that will have to be done. Once people have that framework and they are confident, that will also include how these ideas or innovators interact with third parties who are not part of the hub. When someone comes and asks what people are doing, there has to be a legal document or a process of how do they get told what all these people are doing, what have they signed on to. So once that the policy level is done and you do 101 with the innovators, what you will need as they move on is support services around these professional services. So having a place where they can get legal advisory, and that would apply to other professional services, I think. In Kenya, we have a whole framework that meets international standards in terms of protecting intellectual property. We are also part of the international system of trade, which includes protection of intellectual property, which means that we have certain standards that if you innovate here and you go to another country, you are assured of certain level of protection in those third countries. The other thing you have to think about is if you are going to scale, as you think about intellectual property, I think it's important to understand that there are international systems of protection. So that you could be in Kenya, but be able to protect your product around the world. There are systems run by the World Intellectual Property Organization, for example. There are African systems. So if you have that whole framework, the main question is how you start and the things you need to know when you are developing ideas. What must I do before I talk to someone?
Just before you go even further on that, young innovators, some of them usually get into a lot of legal problems. Some young innovators and also other different startups and SMEs that have blown up as big as Flutterwaves, they've gotten into a couple of legal problems. And some two reasons that many young innovators usually present as to why they have gotten into legal problems is one, because of ignorance. They don't know about those innovations. And two, it's because of the expensive legal services and fees that are charged by lawyers like you. I'm not saying that you're expensive. So one, where can young innovators get information to do with legal policies and legal frameworks that are protecting their innovations? And two, are there cheaper avenues that young innovators can pursue so that they can at least affordable is the word, for sure, okay? Are there affordable avenues that young startups and young innovators can pursue for them to receive affordable legal services? In 2 minutes, sir.
All right. So, yeah, one is ignorance, and I think that, as I said, can be solved fairly easily through hubs like this by not coming to lecture people about patents and what we call novelty and all these things, but giving them the idea about what the concepts are and what they need to know. If they see it, they can get help. In terms of cost, yes, the cost for certain processes can be prohibitive. So registration of companies, for example, the costs have come down because of the processes we have. When you go to intellectual property like patents, of course, it's much more expensive because of the technical work that goes into developing the documentation required. But there are ways that that could be dealt with. At Sisulu and Associates, we've been thinking about this because we interact with a lot of startups because of IP, and we have seen over time that cost is an important issue. So what we have done is we've set up what we call the startup desk. for legal support, where if we have various startups and we aggregate what they need, we might be able to, because of scale, reduce significantly their costs. We can also be able to engage with them at a different level than them walking into a law firm office, formalities and all that. So it is possible that you can, especially when you are in institutions such as a hub or others that are around, if you aggregate the demand, certain things are fairly regular in terms of what these people are looking for. So if you can solve them together, or if you know what they are. The other thing is professionals, not just lawyers. It would apply to tax experts, it would apply to others, understanding what the startups need. And the way to do that is to be able to engage in platforms like this. Or others that people like Startinev run, these hackathons, to have those conversations in those spaces for them to know that they need these services and there's no shortcut as such.
For sure. I think I'll just take the conversation a little bit away from the legal framework and the legal aspect, and I'll bring it back to the topic and the conversation of innovative hubs, yeah? Now, Mr. Orina, you being at Impact Africa have interacted with a lot of institutions of higher learning across Africa. Some of them have created innovation hubs just like these ones, and others are still in the process of creating those innovation hubs. But I think one of the questions that usually comes about is the question of sustainability. So today you've created something, you've created an innovation hub, then all of a sudden, after 2-3 months, it goes down. So how can institutions of higher learning improve their strategy of sustainability to keep these hubs alive?
Thank you. First of all, I love telling stories, right? So before I answer your question, I'll just kind of paint a picture of who I am and why I'm actually here and why I'm passionate about innovation. So as Israel has mentioned, I'm Mark Orina, not Brian Ocho. Essentially, we innovated a bit. Instead of Ocho coming in, Mark Orina became the innovation who's actually standing here today. But I'd like Brian and Mungeshi just to stand up and say hello. Brian and Mungeshi. Those are my team members for Impact Africa Network. I love the way Daystar love like appreciation all the time. I love the positivity about that. That's really good. So what I do, I'm an associate information officer at Impact Africa Network. What that means, essentially, I'm a software engineer with a cool title, so I still write code, but, title lazima. The next thing I want to talk about Impact Africa, and just to drive back to your point, we started Impact Africa Network, or our founder, Mark Karake, started Impact Africa Network about 3 years ago, right? He did see the gap that Halt Price is trying to do, the Chamber of Commerce is trying to do, and everybody on this panel trying to really promote innovation. Why we share history with Daystar a bit, maybe to give Professor, is we looked for a venue to actually hold one of our first talks, which also is funny because Christine works for one of the organizations that was funding us, or funded the event, rather. So we went to a few universities. We're like, okay, we're trying to do this innovation thing. We're trying to host a talk on startups. People were like, what are you talking about? Is it businesses? What is it? So most of them were not really accommodating as such. But we came to Daystar, and I think within a week, we got the venue. So we've held our first event at this place in Daystar, right? And the person we actually talked to was Scott Chacon, the CTO of GitHub. Right? So GitHub was acquired by Microsoft, right? But the founder, the CTO of GitHub, was actually here in this very venue. So this actually does bring me a few memories about, number one, Impact Africa Network and Daystar, and how it's always been an innovative university going forward. Another thing about Impact Africa Network is we have deep roots with Daystar. Most of our people, or fellows, as we call them, we don't call them employees as such, we call them fellows, because you're always learning on the job. You're not doing a 9-to-5 job. You're preaching ownership, leadership, excellence at all times, mostly from Daystar. I think about 5 of them, and they're actually doing a really good job. So one thing I'd like to commend Daystar for what they're doing. They're really doing a really good job. One, bringing people who are open-minded into the workforce, and also people who are actually willing to learn and the growth mindset. So to come back to Impact Africa Network, we're a startup studio based in Nairobi. What we aim to do is to create creators and owners in the digital transformation in Africa. So there's one thing we always say at our organization, and everyone can attest to it, even your mother, your father would actually attest to this, is genius is evenly distributed, right? You always know that one person, I don't give a good, like those brilliant people, right? In your classes, in our places. So genius is evenly distributed from San Francisco to Tel Aviv that Professor mentioned, but opportunity is not, right? Yeah. So a lot of people have ideas, have things that they want to do, but the opportunity has never been there. So that's one of the things that I think Daystar Innovation Hub is doing. I really applaud you for what you're doing. And now to go back to your question, right? So with innovation, being that you fail fast, right? Because you always have an idea, you think it's the best thing in the world, then the next thing you know, you've been asked, so what's your problem statement by the bank? So what's your cash flow? Then you're wondering, they thought, this is it, right? So you end up actually failing a few times and actually being discouraged at first. So the first thing you need to do for sustainable organization is what I'd call synergies between organizations. So number one, Daystar being able to bring in Health Prize, being able to bring in Kenya Chamber of Commerce, bringing in alumni from Daystar to actually just come in and actually help out where we can. So it always takes a village. It's never a silo thing. And if you even see, as I said, I like telling stories. If you look at it's on this other side, my bad. So if you look at is it the photo there, right? The photo there with Daystar Innovation Hub. Innovation is not one person, right? That's one thing. It's always a group of people. It takes a village of people. So it tells a story, right? So that's the first thing. Don't do it alone. You do it alone, you'll go as far as you will, but if you do it together, you'll go very far. The second thing I'd say is for innovators and being able to build a sustainable environment for entrepreneurs is number one, having a plan that is actually pragmatic, right? So in every situation, there's the ideal thing. You'd want to maybe host your organization, your events a bit far away, let's say in Hilton and certain places. But when you're pragmatic, when you look at what your budget constraints are and what are your expectations, that will actually make you go further. The other thing that we do is we innovate as we go on. So at Impact Africa Network, the people who actually fund us are tech CEOs, CTOs for different companies. So we find ways to raise money, right? If you look at maybe universities and other places, they're very, especially right now, they're very demanding things to, be able to, bills to pay, right? And you have to find innovative ways, number one, to raise money as an organization. So for us, we look for tech founders. We also have maybe micro donations where people come in. So be innovative at all times, right? And lastly, just to finish off this and maybe to kind of bring this home, is be problem solver. So innovation and problem solving is kind of the same thing, right? Actually, they're actually the same thing as such. So problem solvers, like this world, what it needs, it does not need, and I'd contrast this with this. Innovation and problem solving, the opposite of it is Serikali's idea. So you know that, I'm waiting for the government to give me my job, or I want that one to give me my job. So problem solving is you actually going out there and actually, what Diana, my colleague, always says, be the red box in great boxes, right? Stand out at all times, differentiate yourself, build your profile, as Madam Irene talked about here. So being able to always use what you have, build on top of it, create value as you go forward. For sure. Right? So I think those are some of the ways you can be.
For sure. I'm just going to allow Mr. Timothy to wind up this session for us. And Mr. Timothy, you're the head of partnerships at Young Investors Africa, yeah? And some people usually have problems, or rather they just don't know how to move around partnerships and stuff like that, especially when they want to get funding and also to obtain certain opportunities. So what are 3 things in 2 minutes that you would tell such kinds of people?
Wow. I think partnerships are very fundamental. Partnerships are very fundamental parts of any business, any organization, any enterprise. Because as he mentioned, we exist as a village. My mantra is we have to build a tribe. You have to keep on building a tribe. And you have to know who is your tribe. So part of building a tribe of partnerships is doing a stakeholder mapping. So you map out who are the stakeholders within your ecosystem. One interesting thing that we do, I'm a member of the Chamber of Commerce, so one of the interesting things that we do with the Youth in Business Network under the Chamber of Commerce, where he's a director and he's our national director, is we use a value-based approach in value sector approach in being able to see who's within your sector. So if you're in IT, you're in software development, I've had a lot of guys in that space. Who else do you need? You need a legal mind to protect your idea. You need a financial person to safeguard you on the financial side. You need a commercial person. Perhaps you're not very good at commercializing your business. So being able to do a stakeholder mapping of whatever industry that you are in is very fundamental for you to get the right partnerships and for you to grow, because people or any idea does not thrive by its own. We need a collective of different people to come together and enable the idea to grow. The other thing which I think for me is also very fundamental, I was being reminded this by one of my mentors the other day. I was in Nakuru. And he reminded me something he told me a while back, and he was telling me I'm walking on those footsteps of what he told me. He told me in his experience of engaging with young people, most young people lack 4 key things. And it's interesting how they're wired along the alphabetical order. Yeah. So the first thing is leadership. So youth leadership is one of the key things that young people are lacking. And leadership goes in many facets. It goes to business leadership. It goes to personal leadership. Because personal leadership and business leadership then is what enables your business to thrive. The second thing is mentorship. And I think this platform, for example, sets that bar of kickstarting the mentorship within Daystar's iHub. Yeah. And then the third thing is networking. We need to be able to unlock the spaces and knock doors of networking to enable the iHub members to be able to grow. And then the last thing is opportunities. You just mentioned about opportunities, and I remember that opportunities are not mainstreamed. You're actually very privileged to be here, to have iHub being launched in your university, because then you have the opportunity to come and incubate your idea for your idea to grow. So we need to be able to mainstream opportunities to be as many as possible. I like the way you talked about Microsoft launching the hub that is within Microsoft. That's already there, right? And being able to mainstream that and engage with more institutions of higher learning and more partners. Yeah. So I think, back to your question, 3 key things. First, for me, stakeholder mapping and looking at a value-based or value sector approach in terms of any sector that you are in. And just thirdly, perhaps having an open mind. Yeah, thank you.
For sure. So ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of our panel discussion. Hasn't it been amazing? So a round of applause for my panelists right here. One more time, a round of applause as they get off stage and as the MCs come as well. Amazing. I'll big game of coffee one more time, ladies and gentlemen. Santeni sana. So today being a special day, which is also my birthday, guys. Thank you. I'm gonna hand it back over to the next event MC. Makofi kwake akikuja.
I wish I knew how to sing. I'd have sung for you the happy birthday song, but maybe that's coming in a few. Yeah, so he's not around.
He's not here, so we are going to go next to the vote of thanks. And I would love to invite the ever-smiling Jane Murungi, who's a public relations officer, Daystar University. Makofi.
Let's keep on appreciating her as she comes. Let's keep on encouraging her, Madam Jane Murungi, as she comes for the vote of thanks.
Well, thank you so much. Hey, this is really amazing. I have learned so much. It is insightful. And I believe everyone here has learned. I wish when we were in college, we had such opportunities. And I think I would be very far if I had such opportunities. But well, it's not late. I still can use this information now. Yeah, my name is Jean Murungi, as you've been told, and my role is very simple here, to observe a vote of thanks, and I'll do just that. First, I would like to thank the Almighty God for giving these students a creative minds to conceive the idea of Daystar iHub that will foster innovation and creativity for His glory. I believe that with all this information, these students will take this hub very far. I specifically want to recognize and appreciate the student-led organizing committee who came up with this novel idea of launching the hub for students. And they have actually pulled a very successful event. Let's give a round of applause to the organizing committee. In particular, congratulations to Dr. Justin Mutua, Beth Mwamba, and the rest of the team. We are very proud of you guys. We also want to appreciate the iHub patron, Dr. Caroline Ayuya, who is following this event from Naivasha. Thank you for the energy and leadership you have given to the students towards making today happen. Please feel appreciated, Dr. Ayuya, for walking the journey with the students and guiding them as they planned for this event. It is a success because you walked the journey with them. I also like to appreciate and acknowledge organizations and corporate bodies that have supported the students in the launch of Daystar iHub, namely Microsoft Africa, let's give a loud applause for them, Absa Bank, Mijini Tech, Metagy Academy and Agency, Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, HeartProwse Foundation, StartyNev, Young Investors Africa, and Sisula Associate LLP, oh, not yet, and Impact Africa Network. And I hope I've not forgotten anyone, any organization. To all these organizations, thank you so much for sharing your experiences with the students. Your advice and insight will enable them to be more innovative and will help them to steer the hub to higher heights. And of course, I cannot forget our own Daystar University. Leadership, of course, starting with the Vice Chancellor, Professor Lavan Ayiro, the Principal, Nairobi Campus, Professor Michael Bowen, in absentia, Dr. Duncan Irongo, he was here, Dr. Martin Munyao, and my own boss, Corporate Affairs Manager, Mrs. Damaris Kimilu. Thank you so much for the different roles you played to support and encourage the students. They would not be where they are right now, where we are right now, without your support. We really appreciate that. And last but not the least, I would like to appreciate everyone in this hall today for gracing the occasion. This event would not have been a success without your presence. Because without you here, then we would be addressing the chairs. But because you're here, it is a success. Thank you so much. Again, for the organizations that are supporting our students, We hope that you will continue to walk the journey with the students. Asanteni sana.
And of course, for that, as DESA, we would just like to appreciate our guests with a token of appreciation because we have acquired so much.
Mic check, 1, 2, 3. We have acquired so much from you, and we really appreciate for that. So, Angie, Mimi, I've learned so many things, and there's a new word that I mastered. Let me just go back and confirm. I don't know what you learned. Me, I took notes. I don't know kama ulilala, kama watu wengine, ama there's something I learned. Hackathons. Never heard of hackathons before in my life. Who knows what hackathons mean? Hackathons? Huh? Ati ni mimi peke yangu? Mnanidanganya. And so many other things that we've learned. And just to start off with our token of appreciation, we'd like to start with Miss Irene Githinji, who will be appreciated. Just let's appreciate her as she comes on stage. Angie, bado nangoja uniambie what you learned.
Relax, kwanza acha niite watu wa picha. Watu wa picha mko ready? This is your moment to shine.
Let's keep on appreciating them.
Hey, I've been told that the visitors have to be gifted by Professor Bowen. Please have the honors to gift our visitors for today. Makofi kwake. Let's appreciate him while he walks on stage.
Let's keep on appreciating Professor Bowen as he gifts. Next on stage, we have the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mushiri Mungai. You can just keep on coming as... Let's appreciate him as he comes onto stage. Next, we have David Onundu. Let's appreciate... let's keep on appreciating them as they come on stage. Next, we have Mijini Tech with Mr. James Ndedo. Mijini Tech. Meta G Academy, Wangeshi, you can see you here. Halt Prize, you can be coming. That's Clifton. Next, we have Statinev, Innocent. Young Investors Africa, Mr. Timothy. And finally, we have Sisule and Associates LLP. Oh, that's not the last one. We have Impact Africa Network, Mark. Let's appreciate him as he comes on stage. Makofi, 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 tafadhali. Thank you very much, Professor Bowen, for that.
All right, and also please appreciate yourselves for showing up. Makofi kwenyu. And we know there is no celebration. We are in the African setting. There is no celebration. Kama hakuna nini? Kama hakuna nini? Kama hakuna keki. So
kuna mtu amesema ugali hapa. Amechoma.
Wewe ni Mluya.
Wewe ni Mluya.
So now we are going to the cake session. Makofi. Hata hiyo mtaambia mpige makofi.
But before then, we can just have a word of prayer before we go to the cake cutting session. So, chaplaincy, tumefika kwa department yako. DJ, in the meantime, you can be preparing yourself for some nice song.
All right. Thank you very much, guys. Can you put your hands together for these amazing guys, man? When I grow up. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you for our guests for pouring yourselves into our lives. And this for sure will bear fruits. And one day you'll say, you know what, because we took time to be a Daystar, we were blessing, and these young people are who they are because of what we did. So thank you. Thank you very much. Allow me to pray. I'll kindly request if you can stand so that we can pray. Father, Lord, we come before you this evening, and we are very grateful for the opportunity that you gave us just to spur one another and to equip one another as friends, as Daystar community. We thank you for the guests. We pray that, Lord, may you bless them in excess of their sacrifices, oh God. We thank you that we have had meaningful conversations, and these conversations are going to bear fruit, and one day we'll look back and rejoice that we launched iHub in Daystar. So we pray for moving forward that this will be an amazing club, that many lives will be transformed, that many great ideas will be innovated, the world will be impacted because of this journey that you have begun. So we pray that, Lord, may you be with us for the rest of the evening till we meet again. May your name be glorified. May your name be praised. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Asante sana. You may have your seat so that they can guide us how we're cutting the cake.
And on this next session, we'd like to have the iHub co-founder and co-founders, the iHub entire team, kindly be here as we go on to the next session.
DJ, put some music kindly.
Victory guaranteed. With my God by your side. Victory guaranteed. Still alive. With my God by my side. Victory guaranteed. With my God by my side. Victory guaranteed. It's a guarantee. Animeshinda tayari, it's a guarantee. Animeshinda tayari. He says to let him fight my battle, let him fight for me. Cause when I let him fight for me, then victory is guaranteed. He can do revolution kama watoto wa Israeli walivyopiga kwenye walls of Jericho mpaka zikabomoka. He has brought you this far. He'll perfect what concerns you. You're a conqueror. You're a conqueror. He's brought you this far. He'll perfect what concerns you. You're a conqueror. You're a conqueror. Yeah, yeah, yeah. My God by my side. Victory guaranteed. With my God by my side. Victory guaranteed. Animeshinda tayari, it's a guarantee. Animeshinda tayari, it's a blessing to no. I'm on the winning side, it's a blessing to no. I'm on the winning side, and no weapon shall prosper. I don't fly kama chopa, and we don't talk over. I took a fresh isichoka, kama jugu niko counted. Siko solo, I'm surrounded. Me wa Mungu niko counted. Ameniweka juu kama mountain. God is for me, He is for me. Pole sana if you come for me. God
hello.
He is for me.
Hello.
Come for me. My God by my side. Victory guaranteed.
Music yende chini kidogo. Hello. So now we want to officially eat the cake. We can see Herb Lounge, and we can see how it's such a beautiful cake. So I want to invite Miss Irene to come and help this amazing team cut this cake. Let's appreciate her. Woo!
Baba, give me space.
Kidogo before tuanze kata keki. DJ, kidogo, play the music. Alright. Sawa. Let's start the cake cutting. Hapo nataka Madam President kuchukua kisu.
So mina vimbada. Nampa sifa kama kawa. So mina vimbada.
Miss Irene, can you hold the knife? Let's appreciate them as they cut the cake.
Ephesians 6 verse 10 to 20. I came to save it. Shoot Satan. I want you. Shoot Satan. Cock your gun. Shoot Satan. Devil of it. Shoot Satan. I want you. Shoot Satan. Cock your gun. Shoot Satan. Devil of it. You might think me speaking tongue as I'm breaking the free understand this but as you can see already people just stand firm so there's what people is about to get
that's official at the team.
In the Monday 15 admitted a man with the most I cannot be a victim maker. The members in the biblical private maker. The members in the biblical private and the spiritual taekwondo. So we think that they do when man say no. Proclaim Christ and this devil of you know. Proclaim Christ and this devil of you know. Me no need a six pack. But when I'm here, then I told me set and pack. What you want put together, nobody can put a pack. What you want put together, nobody can put a pack. Shoot Satan. I want you to shoot Satan. Cock your gun. Shoot Satan. Devil of it. Shoot Satan. I want you to shoot Satan. Cock your gun. Shoot Satan. Devil of it.
Just remember that we still have more and more refreshments to be served. In the meantime, refreshments, I hope umesikia hiyo vizuri. And we have cakes here that will be served by our ushers. Make sure you have yourself some refreshments before you leave. Sawa. Usiende bure. Sawa. And we have enough cake for each and every one of us.
So before we get there, I want to request Madam President IHUB, if you could please have the honors and give Miss Irene the cake. Wacha asikie keki ya Daisy na taste aje. Si ndio? Vigelegele.
DJ umelala kwa class DJ. DJ, you're missing the moment. How does it taste? It's nice. Yeah. So we'll have more of that being shared with you. And we'd just like to appreciate each and every one of you for being our attentive audience. And my name is Arnold Feather. Till next time, we'll get to meet you guys.
And also thank you so much for being such an amazing audience. My name is Angela Njage. I'm doing PR and marketing. Have an amazing weekend and a blessed weekend as well.
What can't you change, Jesus?
some refreshments outside. Once you serve the cake, you can have some tea outside. Don't leave yet. Guests, don't leave yet. We have some cake for you. Don't leave yet. There's